What's up, everybody? It's Serrano786 here for a Destiny 2 video. I wanted to talk today what I've started to coin the Starfire Protocol problem. The reason I wanted to make this video, I was watching a Diablo 4 developer video that was posted on YouTube. And there's a phrase that I started to hear more often over these past couple of years, maybe even just this past year, which is play it your way. Now, when developers and companies speak of this, what they're really trying to imply is you can play the game however you want to play. You can build your character however you want to play. And it's encouraging that gameplay throughout. The problem with this, and you really only see this in looters when they mention this, is that yes, you are encouraged to play the game how you want, use certain abilities, use your build, play whatever you want. But as you get to endgame in any of these games, there are always meta builds. And these meta builds dictate how you play the endgame and forcing you to play these in order to be effective at the end game, whether that be farming bosses, whether that be farming certain pieces of content, let's say like in Destiny and Grandmasters and things of that nature. This phrase of play it your way is thrown out the window as soon as you get to those in-game pieces of content. Now, as a player, and I've been playing video games the vast majority of my life, is I would love it. I would absolutely love it in a video game if I was able to play it my way, right? Let's think about this in a Destiny 2 sphere, right? Let's just think about it in the Destiny 2 sphere because that's what it was mainly about. Do you remember the days of the old Chaos Reach and Geomag when you used to be able to just run the last 25% of your super and the super just did insane damage and then they eventually ended up nerfing it? How many times with certain builds and certain things in Destiny 2 that they nerf because they were too strong? Why not keep it? Why not bring everything else up to that level? I don't really understand it on a player side of things of why you would just not be able to bring up every other build to that level, right? Make it as fun as that. What happens in Destiny 2 is you're pigeonholed into these certain builds whenever you're doing content. If you're a warlock, for the most part, you're going to be a well slut. You're going to be a well slut. Let's be honest. You're going to be not like you're forced into playing a well, but if you want to be effective for the team, you're more than likely going to have to run a well. I don't mind that. I love playing support. And in most MMOs, anything where there's a support class or something that I can buff my team or myself, I'm almost always going to play that class. Not everybody wants to do that. I would say I would like to enjoy being able to play, let's say, a Strand in in-game content. You can if there's another well lock, right? And that's where I feel like there is a Starfire Protocol problem, or even Sunbracers. Let's just say that to a lesser extent, or to the same extent, Sunbracers. But you're forced into playing well. I want to be able to play something else and be as effective. I don't really understand why there is such a problem of let's make all the builds feel as strong as this. Like, I don't understand. Is there a problem there? I mean, mind you, on the player side of things, I don't really understand that. I would still love to run Geomags. I love Geomag stabilizers. When they first came out and they had that ability to be able to just run the last 25%, you did insane damage. For a while, Geomag was the meta. Like, it was the meta. And then what did they do? Nerf it. Now Starfire is going to be nerfed. I mean, I'm probably still going to run Starfire anyways. But the point is, I wish I could play all of these builds. I wish I could play any build. I wish it was true to what they're saying when people and companies and developers say, play it your way. They're lying to you. They're lying to every single player. What they mean and what they should say is, play it your way until you're in the end game. And then the meta builds, which are the more powerful builds, the builds that make you really strong, are going to be what you're going to have to play. You know what I mean? Let's think about Diablo 2. Even to Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is a perfect example of this. A Sork in Diablo 2. If you wanted to run end games, let's say be effective in game, you're more than likely going to run a Blizzard Sork, right? Like there are some variations, some other stuff you could build. Are they effective as a Blizzard build? No. And that's kind of my point. These games try to give you the ability to like, oh, let's make these different builds. Let's have fun doing this. They don't. They don't. That sucks. I want to play it my way. It's a lie to all of us, to players. Stop saying that. Play it your way. I was playing Redfall, RIP, because that game is fucking terrible. I was playing Redfall, and I remember watching the videos. Play it your way. You can sneak in through a window. You can da-da-da-da-da. At the end of the day, you're going to play it, in the end, the same exact way you're going to kill shit. One way or the other, you're pigeonholed into killing things and doing things a certain way, the meta, so to speak, of how you play and engage in the game. It's frustrating. I would almost say that I would rather take less diversity in builds and just make a certain type of build available, right? Like when all of the subclasses got reworked, Void 3.0, Arc 3.0, Solar 3.0, they made a lot of fragments that would make building your character and your guardian more to your needs and more to how you want to play. Now, that's great, but again, you're almost pigeonholed into certain builds. If you want to be a really good warlock, you're going to play either fusion or sunbracers. I mean, what else are you going to play? If I'm running a grandmaster, what else am I going to run as a warlock? Maybe stasis for CC, right? Like maybe stasis. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff you could play if other players were to accommodate you. What I mean is, if you had a couple of teammates that were willing to say, okay, we're not going to have as much healing, you're going to need to pick this up. And I guess you could do that, but you're not going to be as effective. And again, I hate to feel pigeonholed into these certain builds when there's the opportunity to make everything stronger. Like, make everything stronger. And I say that, right? Again, on the player side, it's easy for me to say that. On the player side, make everything else stronger. I always have this thought of why not make it time-based? Like, make your engagements when you fight things time-based, not damage-based, right? Let's take an average time to kill. Let's take, what's his name? Not Randall. The guy, the Cabal guy, anyways, the special named Cabal that everybody does their testing on, maybe even like Templar, right? Why not make it so you could just say, okay, the average time to kill for this is, and I'm just making up numbers, 20 seconds. So in order to kill this boss in 20 seconds, you would have to do an average DPS of XYZ, right? Why not make it so you take that formula and then you just divide it by your abilities, your bullets, and all of that stuff? Man, that's a lot of numbers. I'm already tired of that. Either way, I guess I digress. My point is, I hate being pigeonholed into a certain build. I would love to play it my way. I would love to play a video game my way and use any build and in-game content and be effective. And you could, right? But you can't really. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing DPS and you're a warlock and you're not running well, the question is almost like, why aren't you running well? Can you run well? You know how many times I hear that in raids all the time? Hey, can you run well? Hey, can you run well? Do you mind running well? Can you run well? Why? Because you want to survive and you want to do more DPS. Like, it's almost, you have to do that. You have to do that. And I guess on the player side of it, and I'm not tired of running a warlock. I run it anyways just because it's great survivability. God, look at my damage. But it's just, it's frustrating. And I'm sure there's a lot of players that probably feel this way. I'm sure they would love to run certain builds. I would love to run Void. I wish Void would allow me a way to buff my group and heal myself and still be like fun to do. Stasis, same thing. I don't know. Maybe there's too much diversity. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's too much diversity in the builds. And so when you have all this diversity, it's very easy to see which builds are the metas because all these other ones suck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let me hear your thoughts down below, right? Like, I've been ranting on for almost like 10 minutes here. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Is it weird for me to think that? You know what I mean? Like, I want to play more. I want to play more builds. You know what I mean? I don't want just this one build to feel like the best build. I wish all builds were the best build. Maybe there's too much numbers on the back end to crunch. Maybe it's a problem, a very easy problem of balancing. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what's causing this, and maybe that's why like Bungie is unable to do that, because there's so many variables into it, and we don't know, right? Like as a player, I don't know. I'm not privy to that information because I don't work on the back end of things. And it, again, I will say as this one little caveat, or not little, but this caveat of, I don't program. I don't know anything about that. I am shit dumb when it comes to knowing on the back end of things, of how complicated and how hard that is on the back end of things. It's easy for me to say that, but I just wish that I was able to play it my way. Let me hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Maybe I'm just ranting. Maybe I'm just tired of running Starfire Protocol. Maybe I want to run other stuff. You know, maybe it's time to maybe simplify things, and maybe simplify, you know, how these builds are. I don't know. I digress. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, subscribe button. Either way, I do want to hear your comments. I do want to hear thoughts on this, because I'm really curious of what players are thinking or feeling. Like, do you feel pigeonholed into, you know, doing certain builds? Would you like to be able to play other builds and be as effective? Let me hear you down below. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Stay spicy out there.